library. Thousands of stories lie within these walls, thousands of lives and adventures. But on a cold night like tonight in January, these books come alive to teach us stories that will warm your heart. My name is Brenda, and I will be your tour guide this evening. Follow me as we go upstairs to the library. Please feel free to take any photography or videography you would like. However, no flash, and if you do grab a seat and stand behind wherever you're most comfortable. Our first selection comes from La Bohème, a book and an opera. While you were waiting downstairs drinking hot cocoa and hot cider, you were probably feeling pretty warm inside. And maybe you even forgot just how cold it is outside tonight, and how desperation can be just as chilling as the wind.
Chi sono un poeta, che cosa faccio? Scrivo e come vivo, vivo. In povertà mia lieta, scialo da gran signore, rimedini d'amore per sogni e per chimere e per castelli in aria. L'anima mia
Well, if you can't find kindness in your heart for a stranger, maybe you can find it for someone you love. Maybe you're still not warm enough. We need a fire, and this one comes from Dante himself. Follow me to the Inferno, just this way.
We walked across the shades on whom there thuds that heavy rain, and set our souls upon their empty images that seem like persons. And all those spirits lay upon the ground, except for one who sat erect as soon as he caught sight of us in front of him.
O you who are conducted me through this hell, recall me if you can, for you, before I was unmade, were made.
I to him, it is perhaps your anguish that snatches you out of my memory, so that it seems that I have never seen you. But tell me who you are, you who are set in such a dismal place, in such punishment. If other pains are more, none's more disgusting, and he to me.
Your city, once so full of envy that its sack has always spilled, that city held me in the sunlit light. The name you citizens gave me was Chiaco, and for the damning sin of gluttony, as you can see, I languish in the rain. And I, a wretched soul, am not alone, for all these have this same penalty, for the same sin.
And he said nothing more. I answered him, Chaco, your suffering so weighs on me that I am forced to weep. But tell me if you know, what end awaits the citizens of that divided city? Is any just man there? Tell me the reason why it has been assailed by so much schism. And he to me,
After long controversy, they'll come to blood. The party of the woods will chase the other out with much offense. But then, within 3 suns, they too must fall, at which the other party will prevail, using the power of one who taxes sails. This party will hold high its head for long and heap great weights upon its enemies, however much they weep indignantly. 2 men are just, but no one listens to them. 3 sparks that set on fire every heart are envy, pride, and avariciousness.
with this, his words, inciting tears, were done. And I to him,
I would learn more from you. I ask you for a gift of further speech. To Gaio Farinata, men so worthy, Arrigo Mosca, Jacobo Rusticucci, and all the rest whose minds bent toward the good. Do tell me where they are, and let me meet them.
for my great longing drives me on to learn if heaven sweetens or hell poisons them. And he,
They are among the blackest souls. A different sin has dragged them to the bottom. If you descend so low, there you can see them. But when you have returned to the sweet world, I pray, recall me to men's memory. I say no more to you, answer no more.
That was a hell of a performance. Thank you, I'll be here all night. Don't forget to tip your tour guide. Just kidding. Follow me.
Got comfy seats right in the front. Don't be shy. I won't bite. Come on in, come on in.
Welcome to the children's room, where you will hear some fables by Aesop. And you'll also find out that the kindness of strangers is not simply limited to men and women alone.
Good evening, class. So let's try and do our best to listen. Eyes on the speaker and hands to ourselves. Yes? Wonderful. All right. Our first fable tonight is titled Androcles and the Lion. Androcles was a slave who suffered under a cruel and vicious master. Although Androcles worked from sunrise to sunset, his master gave him scarcely enough food to live on and had him beaten time and time again. At last, Androcles made up his mind to run away into the woods. Even if I'm killed by wild beasts, he thought, it would be better than this. And he slipped away into the forest. When night was about to fall, a strange sound suddenly reached his ears, a moaning and whimpering, as if one nearby were in pain. As he peered around the trees, he gasped and stood frozen in the shadow of the trees, for what he saw was a lion. The lion was licking his paw with his great tongue and gnawing at it with his sharp teeth. Looking closer, Androcles saw that a long, sharp thorn had buried itself deep in the lion's paw. Why, it's hurt, he thought, with pity, forgetting his fear. Careful not to alarm the animal, Androcles crept toward the lion. He gently took hold of the injured paw, pulled the thorn out, then bound up the wound with a bandage torn from his cloak. The lion licked Androcles' hand in gratitude, and from that moment on, they were friends. Every day, the lion went hunting and brought back fresh meat for Androcles to eat, and every night, Androcles slept safely in the lion's den. But one day, as the lion was out in the forest, he was trapped by a band of hunters. And that same day, Androcles was captured by some soldiers who were passing through the forest. As punishment for running away from his master, Androcles was taken to the city, where he would be thrown to the lions. When the day of Androcles' execution arrived, even the emperor came to the crowded arena to watch. The soldiers dragged Androcles into the arena and left him there. What a wretched life, Androcles thought in despair. Those days I spent in the forest with the lion were the only time I was happy. Then the soldiers released the lion. Androcles shut his eyes in dread, expecting to be torn limb from limb, but no tooth or claw touched him. When Androcles opened his eyes in amazement, he saw his own lion crouched happily at his feet. Androcles laughed with joy as he knelt to embrace his friend. Much astonished, the emperor called out, "Who is this slave who can tame lions?" Androcles rose and bowed to the emperor. "My lord," he said, "I was able to do this lion a kindness, and he has repaid me with a greater loyalty than I ever found in the world of women and men." And he told the emperor his story. Impressed with Androcles' courage and compassion, the emperor pardoned him and set him free. Androcles and the lion returned to the forest where they lived happily together for the rest of their days. Gratitude is not limited to humankind. The end. So our next and final fable is titled The Lion and the Mouse. One day, while a mouse was creeping through the tall grass, she happened upon a great lion asleep in the sun. "I might see for quite a long distance from the top of that beast's back," she thought. Boldly, the mouse crept up the lion's flank and scampered along his spine. The tickling of the mouse's tiny feet woke the lion. With one swipe, he snatched her in his claws and dangled her by the tail in front of his nose. "For daring to interrupt my nap," the lion growled, "you'll be my next meal." "Oh, please," the terrified mouse gasped. "Let me go, and I promise one day I'll help you in return." The lion shook with laughter. "Impossible," he roared. But the proud animal was so amused by the idea that he allowed the mouse to go. Not long after, the lion was caught in a trap set by some clever hunters. No matter how the powerful beast thrashed and fought, he could not free himself from the strong net that raised him from the ground. No other animal dared come near for fear of the hunters. But when the brave little mouse heard his cries, she remembered her promise and hurried to his side. Quickly, she gnawed through the sturdy ropes with her sharp teeth until the lion could escape to freedom. "You see," she said, "there are times when even a tiny mouse can help a lion. Even the strongest can sometimes use the help of the smallest." The end. I hope you enjoyed our fables. Enjoy the rest of the performances.
What can you feel when it's winter and you're freezing in a hole in the ground? Can you feel compassion for a stranger? Our next story is Silent Night, the story of the World War I Christmas truce. Belgian and British forces were along the line, and with those forces were troops from India and Africa who had never even seen any sort of winter storm. Opposite them were not only the Prussians, but the Saxons and the Westphalians, who would much rather have been home for the holidays. Christmas was approaching.
So we commenced polishing our ammunition and rifles and getting all ready with speedy action. In fact, we were just about to send off a few lost shots at the biggest light when voices were heard, probably through a megaphone. "Englishmen! Englishmen, don't shoot! You don't shoot, we don't shoot." This was all very well. There was some remark about Christmas, but we had heard so many yarns about German treachery that we kept a very sharp lookout. How it happened, I don't know, but shortly after this, our boys had lights out and the enemy troops were busy singing each other's songs, punctuated with terrific salvos of applause. The scene from my sentry post was hardly credible. Straight ahead were 3 large lights with figures perfectly visible round them. The German trenches, which bent sharply and turned to the rear of our advanced positions, were illuminated with hundreds of little lights. Far away to the left, where our lines bent, a few lights showed our company trenches where the men were thundering out "My Little Grey Home" in the west. At the conclusion, the Saxons burst into loud applause and obliged with some German tune. They also sang one of their nation's airs to the tune of "God Save the King," to which we replied some Austrian hymn, at which the applause was terrific.
No man's land had seemed 10 miles when we were crawling out on a night patrol. fell. But now we found it no wider than the width of 2 football pitches. We provided the football and set up stretchers as goalposts. And the Rev Jolly, our padre, acted as ref. They beat us 3-2. But the padre had shown too much Christian charity. The outside left shot the deciding goal, and he was miles offside and admitted it as soon as the whistle went. And we spectators were spread nearly 2 deep along the touchlines with loaded rifles slung on our shoulders.
All right, folks, our finale will be just downstairs, a Suessical Christmas Carol. And this is the end. It needs no introduction, so none I will do.
We're happy you made it.
We're so glad you're here.
You're all just in time for some Christmassy cheer, a Christmas Carol.
Now that's a good story.
And we promise it isn't the slightest bit gory.
The Scrooge was a bona fide all-people hater, a classic begrudger and Christmas deflator.
I can't stand the people, their cheer or their toys, and all the noise. Noise, 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 noise.
Now, people don't know why the Scrooge was so icky,
So mean, so coarse.
so prickly, so sticky.
It could be his heart was 2 sizes too small.
Or maybe it just wasn't installed at all.
This is Bob Cratchit, the Scrooge's poor clerk.
Get busy, Cratchit. I pay to work. I don't pay to sit there and fidget.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I was just warming my digits.
Not with my candle. That cost $1.50. I got the slow-burning kind, 'cause I'm thrifty.
Well, sir, perhaps with some coal for the fire.
What? So that you can just sit and perspire? Can't stand the cold? Well, then look, there's the door. Besides, too much heat in here ruins the decor.
The Scrooge, although crabby, gave into some weakness.
And let Cratchit have his full day off for Christmas.
Perhaps if I scowl enough and show distaste, these goody-good fools will get out of my face.
To cut through the crowd's full worth was a chore, but before long, Scrooge faced his own door.
At last, it's the door. It's the door to my place. But this time the knocker looks like it's...
A face?
Ow! You're talking door knocker? What are the chances? You gave me a scare. Now I need to change pences.
Boo!
Please don't. Wait a sec. Whoa, who are you?
You'll never guess, dude.
Jake Marley, my dead business partner whose gravestone said RIP. Jake, you seem 85% more hip.
Scrooge.
No, it's the Scrooge.
Big deal, it's the same.
The Scrooge is much cooler. My rock and roll name. I've had it since I was a teen in a band.
I think that we're getting ahead of the plan. We'll deal with your past in this play, Ebenezer, and see how you went from rock idol to geezer. But first, like I said, there is a part 2. 3 other spirits are going to haunt you. Boo!
The Scrooge was now tired and went to lay down.
But then in his bed he just flip-flopped around. The clock then struck 1. What a horrible sound.
1 o'clock. Ha! There's no one around. I was a fool. Could I be so blind? There's no haunting.
Hi there.
Never mind.
Sorry I'm late. I tried to be quick. My car kept on stalling because I don't drive stick. I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Look, I'm kind of tired. Can we make this fast?
Just take my hand into your history. We'll go. We'll travel through walls and through time.
Cool.
I know.
Oh, we're here at a party.
Backward.
How bizarre. If you can do that, why do you drive a car?
Dudes dig the car. It's a must for those dating. Plus, it's got a great afterlife safety rating.
Why, I can't believe it. I'm here with my band.
You're there with your voice and your hair.
And a tan, hairy and tan with my new rock persona. I was the Scrooge. My band loved Bologna. Oh, goodness me. Could that be my bell?
You're a great singer. I'm not even joking.
No offense, but I think you're smoking. Do you want my autograph? It's just 1 letter.
Actually, I thought that this would be better.
My body has 17 trillion and 9 neurons all firing at the same time.
Oh, sorry about that. Perhaps that was naughty. That kiss might have meant less if I weren't a hottie.
It compels me to get down on one knee. Dearest, what's your name?
Val.
Marry me.
I was engaged.
Let's fast forward a scotch. Your new love of money has made you less close.
What's happened to you, Scrooge? You used to be fun.
It's the Scrooge.
Oh, please.
Hey, there's work to be done.
The Scrooge was your stage name, but you quit the band. Your life is becoming tight, waddish, and bland.
I've kept the stage name. It intimidates fools. Just ask my employees. And plus, it's still cool.
You're getting cooler towards me, that's for sure. A new lover has you despite my allure.
What other lover? There's just no one else. That's funny.
Here's a hint, Scrooge. Her name rhymes with money.
Oh, enough of this junk. I can't take any more. Haunt me no more. Take me back. I implore.
And so, with a snap,
The Scrooge went back to bed.
while visions of Belle danced around his head.
Bing!
Bong! Ah, there's the cue.
Time for ghost number 2.
Well, there's the bell. No ghost again. Bah! A ghost's always late. Perhaps they...
Ta-da! I am the ghost of Christmas present.
Into the streets the two of them trod.
But no one could see their invisible bobs.
Oh, well, what house is this?
It's the house of your clerk.
The one that I underpay and overwork?
Uh-huh. He's so bored that all of his children have jobs.
Oh.
Ringo's a lawyer and Sally's a dentist, and Buff is a garbage collector's apprentice. Julie builds houses and Jen fixes cars, and Nip studies meteors that fall from Mars.
Father Timmy! Merry Christmas, my family.
Oh, well, what child is this with Bob? Is he in boy gang league?
That's little Timmy Lou Who in the mix. He's just a surgeon, and that's because he's 6. All of them work, and they work all the time. But since they're just kids, they won't make but a dime.
Timmy Lou Who. Why does he have a crutch?
His legs don't work too good, at least not good too much.
Lord bless you now, Bob, and sit down for dinner. It's Christmas time, so our dinner's a winner. Here at our menu, let me introduce the main course of all, our big Binka bird goose.
Ooh. Oh, Mother, you've done it. That Binka goose is the best one I've seen, served with soup-fruited juices. Let us say grace for these Christmas provisions.
That can't feed their family. What are they, magicians?
Better start carving, don't let it get cold.
Lovely. We all get one piece of meat. That's 1 inch by 1 inch by an 1/8 inch deep.
What? That's insane. That would not fill my tummy. That's sort of like just eating one pepperoni. Look how they savor it and how they're grateful.
Even though they hardly have half of a plate full. But don't be alarmed by all of this gratitude, because Mrs. C is about to cop a big attitude.
Oh, what a meal with which our chins are greased. A toast to the Scrooge, the king of the feast.
The Scrooge, our feast king? Ha! That's a good one. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast on.
Now, dear, think of the children. It's Christmas.
It had better be Christmas to toast that man's grimness. That stingy old, crusty old, miserly doofus. I'll drink to him, Bob, for your sake, not his. Cheers to the Scrooge, whose life is deficient. May he live just as long as is sufficient.
And may God bless us.
God bless us, everyone.
Blessings to each of us under the sun.
Oh, Timmy Lou, who's a dear cutie pie. Tell me now, Spirit, is he going to die?
No, Tim will live to be old and well fed. No, I'm just kidding. The kid's gonna be dead.
The Scrooge was quite overwhelmed.
In reaction.
And that provided the perfect distraction.
Whoa. Whoa. Who are you? Are you the next spirit? It looks like you come from the future or near it. What vision is this? This. Oh, good. Bob Cratchit's pad. This is fun, seeing the future they've had. Wait a sec. What's with the oblongish faces? Stress from their jobs? Is that what the case is?
Father! My family, what a sweet chorus. Yet one voice is missing and not heard before us.
Oh, Timmy's sweet voice with its dainty tones is quiet now in the ground, all alone.
My dears, when we think of how patient and mild little Tim was as a surgeon and child, let us hold back from each other all quarrels in memory of Tim. Thus endeth the moral.
Oh, you space ghosts of Christmas to come. Are we nearly finished? 'Cause I sure am bummed. My heart is an ache full of sorrow and pain. Wait, no, it's my hip. I think they're both sprained. Take me back home. I'll change. I'll repent. I'll be a new geezer 100%.
The Scrooge began thinking some thoughts that were new.
What if my thoughts about Christmas aren't true? What if Christmas isn't quite so deplorable? What if Christmas means a teensy bit horrible?
The Scrooge's heart grew 3 more sizes that night.
Or just got installed.
Or got hooked up right.
Whatever it was.
At that very hour,
the Scrooge was bestowed with Christmas superpowers.
This is fantastic. I just want to holler. I feel like a newborn baby, only taller. Oh, thank you so much. I feel out of sight. Merry Christmas to all and to all.
Good night.